here on the Monty Show. And again today, we open the show talking about more changes in college football. Yes, we are going to laugh at Ryan Smith, the owner of the Jazz. Yes, we are going to talk about terrorists who love golf. Yes, we are going to talk.
Did you say terrorists who love golf?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I heard that right.
You know, we are going to talk about your addiction to your mobile phone today. But again, I think the biggest story in sports this morning is this change to the transfer policy by the NCAA. And I think the biggest question is, should athletes at the NCAA level be allowed to transfer as many times as they like? And Jake, I think this goes back to the omnipresent, the comparison between athletes and coaches. If coaches can change jobs, why can't athletes transfer as much as they like?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that, athletes have always been sort of the part of the equation that seemingly has to take the difficulties of the job. Meaning, it was only a couple years ago when, guys getting paid reasonable money through endorsement deals started to become a conversation. It was always a thing where you had to make sure you didn't take an extra chicken sandwich at the training table, or you could only transfer once, or like all these rules that the kids have to follow. And it seemed like everybody else didn't really have to follow any rules. Everybody else could just do whatever the hell they wanted to do. And so yeah, I mean, I think unlimited transfers is yet another line item on the list of changes in college football that, while it may free up the players to go and play wherever they want to play, it also has, unintended consequences, as we always talk about on the show, Grim. I think that if you're going to allow kids to transfer an unlimited amount of times, that's going to force schools and force coaches and force collectives to behave differently. It's going to force them to be more aggressive. It's going to force them to go after kids much harder. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I just think it is something that is an absolute side effect of this. And anybody who complains about unlimited transfers just wants college football specifically to stay the way it was, right? Like, if you're not comfortable with where the transfer situation is going, you obviously, wanted it to stay the way it's been for however long now. So to me, I don't necessarily think it's unequivocally, yes, transfers are good for college football or they're bad for college football. But what I think it is there is going to be consequences of this. People are going to lose more and win more. Like it's like the old saying, the disparity between the haves and the have-nots is going to continue to widen with this situation.
I think it is always the unintended consequences of these policies that come back to haunt the NCAA. And I look at the argument about, these NIL payments, right? Like the unintended consequences of you being greedy old men withholding rightful revenue from the people that were making you money now is going to potentially crush college athletics as we know it. As these NIL lawsuits come to bear, you are going to be crushed under the weight of that because you didn't want to pay. And we look at these unlimited transfers. At some point, and I know this is utopic and idealistic,
right,
but at some point, shouldn't we be worried about whether or not a kid is set up to, I don't know, graduate with a degree? Because I think that's the biggest question here is the NCAA, for those of you who don't know, essentially yesterday voted to allow kids to transfer without restriction as long as they are on path for a degree at their next university. So you have to be in line to get a degree and you can transfer. No more, well, my mom's cousin is sick, so I need to be back in Rhode Island. No, you don't need a waiver anymore. You don't need to make up some ridiculous, excuse about, your Aunt Jenny getting a 90-pound mole removed off her ass, right? Like you don't have to do that. The Sopranos, nothing. Anyway, you don't have to make up these ridiculous excuses about why you need to be able to transfer again.
Yeah.
And I think it is the wave of the future. The kids are going to be able to do whatever they want. I think that's essentially what we have now. What will the unintended consequences of this be? That is the thing that I am interested to find out. Like, you look at this corner that's transferring in Colorado, and Dion flipped the number one cornerback in the country last year. And the kid goes to Colorado, and he is an absolute adolescent. He's a child, not mature, wasn't ready to prepare, was not studying, was not learning playbook. Like, so what did the kid do? It's too hard at Colorado. I'm going somewhere else. Like, that's not what makes you a better football player.
Yeah, that's one of the unintended consequences of these transfers.
I think so.
And I think that, again, and I know this always comes up, but this is why Nick Saban retired. According to him, he said, all kids want is money and no accountability. They want to hold over your head as a coach their ability to transfer whenever they want to. And I think that's the difficult part. And the problem is I don't think there's a middle ground here. I don't think that there's a way to both have a situation where the kid's got to do the hard thing and grind through it and face adversity and grow as a person, because they're not allowed to transfer, and they're not, like that was the old situation. And now we're on the other end of the spectrum. Hey, they can transfer whenever they want, but now we're not really making men. Yeah. We're just simply, trying to win with what we got. And I'm telling you, this constant changing, this sort of ongoing flow of molding of the sport and the dynamic is why things like, Jim Harbaugh in Michigan happen. It's why, bad stuff happens in the sport. Because,
you think so?
Yeah, because I think that people think they can get away with anything. They look at it and they say, okay, well, we can go out and get kids, so I'm going to go ahead and break some recruiting violations, and I'm going to go ahead and do this and do that. And, and I'm not like breaking major rules here or there, but we're definitely skirting the rules and doing some things we shouldn't be.
But come on. At some point, we've got to stop pretending we're doing what's best for the kid.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think we care about doing what's best for the kid. No. Like as an example, the reason I bring up Jim at Michigan is because
it's Jimmy, please.
Jimmy at Michigan. The reason I bring that up is because if you look at that situation, Jim needed to get an advantage, right? So getting that advantage started with recruiting in the COVID dark period.
Couldn't win head-to-head against Ohio State.
Yeah, so you needed to get an advantage.
Didn't win big games.
And so now what did you do? You said, okay, cool.
Here's a cheeseburger, kid.
Right? The transfer stuff has loosened up a little bit. Kids can get in the portal. I can go out, and if I can get the upper hand in some of the best talent in the country, maybe that's going to make a difference for us. And sure, are we going to have to break some rules along the way? Absolutely. Absolutely. But the reality of the situation is if we go out and win a natty, then I can leave. And that's why I say this type of change and in this constant state of being in flux. So that's what I feel like college football is right now. We're constantly talking about, like transfer rules and the playoff expanding.
But that's not that is true. But whose fault is that? It's not the kid's fault.
No, it's everybody's fault.
It's the old man's fault.
Yeah.
Because you've put in these really restrictive rules for decades now. I think one of the things that is so interesting is that you look at these transfers. NIL, it is going to be easier to buy a kid now because that kid doesn't have to worry about sitting out a year anymore. So that argument goes away. I think NIL and money, you look at Caitlin Clark, she's signing an 8-figure deal with Nike. Kids in college now, at the top of the performance arc, their money's never going to be in question.
Right.
It's never going to be in question. I think you are going to see the mid-level core football player transfer more often. And I think it is, if you're the number one quarterback at Alabama, you're never going to have to wonder about your NIL money. That envelope's coming every week, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the nobody knows your name offensive lineman. I think it's a third running back. I think it's the second cornerback who doesn't feel like he's getting enough attention. Those are the kids that are going to get bought. You're not going to get we always joke about Ollie Gordon getting paid, or
Yeah.
you're not going to get Ollie Gordon because, again, the envelope's going to his apartment and, his luxury condominium.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's going to his condo every Friday.
And it's like that picture that Caleb Williams put out all those months ago, right? Everyone was all shocked, like, oh my God, like he's got this amazing rooftop penthouse set up. How could he? He's a college
Look
kid.
at Shador.
Yeah.
Look at where those kids live. Like, what do you think they're doing? I mean, they're driving Bentleys. They're professional athletes.
Yeah.
So I think all of that to say, I think that your guardrails are off of these rules and the unintended consequences. This is your fault, old man millionaire who wouldn't let go of his pennies. So now you're going to let go of your Benjis.
Yes.
That's what this is.
100%.
The rich white guy that used to control college football. Yeah. Now the young black teenager controls college football. And you're not going to get nearly as much money as you used to.
Yeah. I agree.
And again, I think this is why the Super League happens. I continue to go back to all of these changes and all these fundamental rules that now are going out the window. That's why the Super League's going to happen. The transfer portal changes. Oh, that's why the Super League's going to happen. Oh, yeah, the college football playoff structure. That's why the Super League's going to happen. Oh, there's new TV money. That's why the Super League's going to happen.
Yeah.
Any of the stuff that you're seeing, just say the new rule, comma, that's why the Super League's going to happen.
And that's what we said from day one about the Super League is like, it is if you take college football and set it to the side real quick, when you're looking at the opportunity that is the Super League, and you begin to understand that the dudes that chill in boardrooms all day, when they look at this, they see it as a funnel to put money through, to either brand themselves or just simply to make ROI or whatever the case may be, whatever the play is for that individual situation. That's what the Super League is. And so for the sport needs more money. There's no question about it. There needs to be more money moving through the sport. And overall, I think that the Super League just makes things easier. It makes it so that you're able to say, hey, we may not be able to win a national championship, but we're in the Super League.
That's right.
Right? Like you're gonna play big games. You're gonna be on ESPN, no doubt about it. Like you're gonna be here, you're gonna be there. Like you've got opportunity. It makes the recruiting pitch, deck stronger.
A pitch deck.
Yeah, it makes the presentation in grandma's living room a little stronger.
Hey, listen, 5-star quarterback. Why don't you go ahead and plug in this external hard drive to your TV? I got a pitch deck I need to pull up, PowerPoint and shit.
Yeah, like it makes it stronger.
Oh my God. Is it comical anymore, or are we just used to this kind of stuff now?
I think that we're now used to constantly being in flux. That's the sport is constantly changing and evolving.
You might be right about that. I mean, I think it'll be, I'm curious to see what impact this stuff has on the NFL draft. I'm really curious to see it again. I don't think it's ever going to be the very best, most talented player that is going to be impacted by this stuff. But I'm wondering, is there a kid are we going to get that transfer portal success story? Because who's a kid that transferred? Like get a Bo Nix.
Proctor.
Caden Proctor's interesting. Sure. Iowa never played there, back to Alabama. But look at Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Bo Nix leaves Auburn, goes to Oregon. Is there anybody that argues he was nothing short of sensational at Oregon?
Yeah.
Bo Nix is playing well.
Does that make him a top pick in the NFL draft? Oh, it didn't, did it? No, it didn't. Did it make him NIL money? Yeah, it probably did. But who's the kid that transferred, got paid, and I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Because it's not like some guys in the comment section yesterday were debating if Michael Penix falls under an NIL guide. He doesn't. He didn't transfer because of NIL. He transferred because he was not healthy and he needed a bigger stage.
100%.
Right? So I think you take Big Penix energy out of that. You look at Jaden Daniels, that might be the guy. Because remember, he was part of the Herm hemorrhage at Arizona State, that whole debacle, right? He winds up at LSU.
Yeah.
And there's no question that he is a top 3 pick in the NFL draft, likely because he played at LSU.
Right.
If he'd have stayed at ASU, he never becomes what he is today. He never plays in the big games.
100%.
He never gets those huge concussions because he weighs 37 pounds total, right? Like he never.
I see what you did there.
Just tossed it in.
Yeah.
Like it tossed it in. Your
Stay hard.
Okay. Anyway, the point is. The point is,
yeah,
I think Jaden Daniels could be that guy, but I think you're going to see guys transfer for an NIL, and I think they're going to lose it all.
Yeah, and I think that the other interesting thing is like in basketball, like the consequences in basketball are massive. I think basketball is a whole other beast in this conversation, and the problem is that because basketball is such a smaller sport in terms of bodies on rosters, transferring for NIL is even more aggressive because there's less opportunity for players, just generally speaking, to get on a roster. Like, you think about what do you got? 70 guys, 80 guys on a college football roster, probably, like on a college basketball roster, you got like 18, like 20, maybe at most. Like,
and I think it's a lot more difficult. I think basketball is different. What I was going to say is I think it's a lot more difficult to become a superstar in college basketball. I think there's so much more parity. There's so much more talent. And you absolutely need to be on a team that's got at least another guy. Like, if you look at Shedeur Sanders, I mean, that kid was probably, I don't know if anybody suffered more last season than Shedeur Sanders, right? Like, the kid got his ass kicked. He's very clearly one of the best quarterbacks in college football.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do that. To be an elite player in high school, the Zion Williamsons are very rare.
Yeah.
I think it's more, but the part of this that I struggle with is, should these kids be allowed to transfer? If you play 4 years of college football, should you be able to wear 4 different uniforms at 4 different universities? That just doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is different. There's no question about it. And I think.
But how do you say they're not allowed to do that? How do you say to a kid you can't go where you want to go?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, that's not how our country works. That's not how
I agree.
Anything's ever worked. I mean, telling people they can't do something, it goes against the very foundation of our country, right?
But does this? This is probably a dumb question, but doesn't this erode your love of the Crimson Tide?
Yeah, well, I mean, what it does,
like, doesn't it kill the brand,
dude? What it does is it erodes your love of, hey, this kid from small town USA came, was really a raw talent, came into the program, got developed by a great head coach and a great staff, and now is going on to the NFL. That storyline that we've seen play out so many times is going to change now because, the kid is going to transfer a million different times, and we've got, 7th year seniors, doing what they do. So my opinion is I don't necessarily think it's great for the sport. I think the sport gets better at the collegiate level when kids have had to go through some adversity to get their job and they're really bought in. And it's not just like a show off type mentality for these players on the field, that is. And so that's why I say, like, the sport now has been forced to be focused on money, not only at the conference level, but at the athlete level. Like, so now all anyone's talking about is, hey, well, how much money did you make? How much money did I make? Like, it used to be that we would criticize, like, I remember Christian McCaffrey coming out of Stanford got criticized for sitting out his bowl game before the draft, and everyone was pissed about that. And, everyone was like, oh, well, all he cares about is money. He doesn't care about a play. He doesn't care about his teammates or that locker room or finishing out strong. And it's like, dude, like at that time when you can't make any money, all you care about is money in that way. But now it's like, hey, money's becoming more plentiful.
But look at the Drake May story. Drake May, his dad, for those of you who don't know, Drake May, the quarterback from North Carolina. Drake May was going to Alabama. He was a top recruit in the country. He was going to Alabama. He was going to be the next, big shit taker at Alabama. Like, he was going to be the dude, right? Only he didn't. they pulled the heartstrings. They got Mac Brown. Like, they flipped Drake May. His dad played basketball at Carolina. Drake May went to Carolina. Played his career at Carolina. I think that's going to be an incredibly rare story now. And I don't know. Do we have such a thing as legacy players anymore? Do we have, Deion's kids never even considered going to Florida State. Or, pick your guy.
I mean, I think you'll have some examples of it, but it's only going to be able to take place when you're a top prospect coming out of high school and you can get into a situation where you can be a 4-year starter at the college level. And
I hate it. I'll be honest. I hate it. I hate what and for me, it's Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame football, Carolina basketball. I cannot stand this for college football.
Notre Dame, our mother.
I think Notre Dame, I think the true blue bloods, we're always going to be talented at Notre Dame. We're always going to have great offensive linemen. We are always going to have shitty and mediocre quarterbacks. And that's just the way Notre Dame is, right? It's the Chicago Bears in Indiana. It's just what it is. But you know that you're always going to have a lot of talent there. You can always recruit. Kids always want to wear the Golden Dome until they get more NIL money from Ohio State or until they get more NIL money from USC. I just hate it. I don't like it. But I'm also very much in favor of giving kids the power. Let them make decisions, and hopefully their family makes the decision with them, and hopefully their NIL agent isn't the one in their ear saying, "Hey, man, we can get you $10 more and a free Buc-ee's barbecue sandwich every Thursday if you go to Waxahachie Institute of Technical Knitting." That's what I don't want.
Yeah,
and I believe that happens every day in this country. I believe that NIL agents that are bloodthirsty are out there like, okay, well, you know what? I got Timmy's Tampon Factory willing to sponsor you. And the only thing is you got to go to SMU, which nobody would ever do. I get
Stay
it.
hard.
But you got to go to SMU. And you get all of the
cattle.
You get all of the prophylactic. You follow me for a minute. You don't even know what a tampon is. Anyway, you get all of the prophylactics that you want.
Right.
That'd be a rubber.
Right.
You get all of the jimmies that you want.
Right.
But you gotta go to Tarleton State.
Tarleton State.
You've got to go to Texas A&M Duluth. You got to go to Indiana Purdue University in Gary.
That's right.
Right? Like, that's the thing that's what I hate.
Yeah.
That's what I hate. Oh, Gumby fresh out.
Whoa,
Dude. Son, dude.
Wow. Welcome to the show.
Look at him. Why does everybody think Gumby's dead?
Wow.
Gumby is not dead. Gumby is not dead. All right, let's get into the comment section. As always, presented by our good friends at prizepicks.com, where pimps go to make their NIL money. When Jake says Kobe White, doubles. Thank you, Kobe, last night. Would just like to...
Well, thank me.
No.
Come on.
Would just like to take a moment here on the showgram to mourn the loss of Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks, because they fell at the feet of the king, the slayer, the stud, the pimp, the real American hero, the only Kobe anybody cares about, the not black Mamba, Kobe White, my guy. 15 of 21 from the floor, 42 points, 9 boards, 6 dimes. He was at 28.5 last night.
Yes! What did I tell you, bro? What did I tell you all yesterday on the show, man? What did I tell you? Yeah.
Thank you, Kobe.
Speaking of making moaning noises, did anyone see good old Zion and his connections on Twitter?
Oh my God, you guys. Okay, now we try to educate. Speaking of Gumby, we try to educate some folks on this show. Take out a pen and a pencil. You guys, you don't know what a pencil is. Maybe screen record this so that you can have this kind of wisdom as to why you don't bang hookers and porn stars.
Here's a quick message. You'll never be LeBron James, ever. I don't know, that just came in my head just now. I don't know why. But yeah, you'll never be LeBron James. Sorry. Sit this one out tonight. I told y'all last year, this person is a disgrace to the NBA. He has no morals or morality. What makes you think he's gonna be the face? That man knows he's playing on a bad knee. Like literally, when we were together, his knee was messed up when we were together, when we were sleeping together. He literally couldn't do certain moves all freaking night. Honestly and truly, I really hope they keep that man, Zion Williamson, benched so the Pelicans can actually make it to the playoffs this year and be an amazing team.
First of all, sweetheart, those nails.
Dude, the nails though. Bro.
This girl is enjoying this. She is roasting Zion Williamson. So I'm
And
gonna get this right.
For the record, they don't have a baby together. For the record, just
No, you can't when it's the wrong. That's not the orifice it goes in when you want to have a. See, when a man and a woman are in love, this is unbelievable. First, just listen to the way that she says labrum lacap, okay?
Here's a quick message. You'll never be LeBron James, ever.
LeBron James.
LeBron James.
Ever. You'll never be LeBron James. Ever. You're crazy. Ma'am.
Monty.
Ma'am. Zion, was the sex worth it? Was the waste of your DNA worth it?
Yeah.
For all of this, because this chick she keeps getting over on Zion Williamson.
I don't know. I don't know if
constantly.
I don't quite know how to answer that. To be honest.
It's unbelievable to me that she's a porn star and a professional.
No, I'm not doing that.
Well, Zion, that should have been your answer. And now that you've shopped at that store, she ain't taking no refunds, yo.
You are not.
Oh my God.
Damn.
I'm just listen, old Uncle Monty, free advice. No porn star. Guys, no porn stars and no pros. Don't pay. If you got to pay for it, you're already paying for it. You got married. Don't go pay for it. Craziness.
Yeah. No, I'm good.
Craziness. I would also point out. Point out.
Yeah.
Okay. I would also point out last night that the true winner and the real star in Chicago was DeMar DeRozan, who my guy D-Ro, who's going to be a Laker next year.
Right.
DeMar DeRozan, 22, 9 dimes, 6 boards. The Bulls shot 11 of 26 from 3. And I know the mayor of Monty Town is not here. But Alex Caruso, again last night. Now, he got hurt, which is a huge problem. He plays 17 minutes, 6 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 or 3 from 3. The Bulls, now, the biggest question, are the Bulls a playoff team? I'm not ready to go that far. Because what happened with the Miami Heat, and we'll see. Is Jimmy going to play? Who knows? Jimmy Butler hurt his knee last night.
Yeah.
But kudos to you, my guy. Calling Kobe White.
Gotta have a big night, bro.
Now,
have a big night.
Now, I would also point out there was some baseball violence yesterday. And you guys know that I am very busy. I am an important person making very unimportant decisions all day long.
Yes.
That the Cubs played an afternoon game yesterday caught me completely off guard. So A, I could not watch it. B, we put a guy named Master Boney in the lineup yesterday.
Master Boney?
And
who is that?
And sadly, finally, we get Hayden Wisniewski pitching exactly the way we want him to pitch. I didn't get to see it. And, of course, Cody Bellinger went yak-a-doodle all over your face.
Yeah.
Cubs are actually hitting. They're 11-7. They're a 500 team on the road. But I would also like to point out that I feel very good about the fact that the New York Yankees continued to dominate yesterday. Did anybody see my guy? My guy who cost me a 3-for-3 last night? I'm not an intelligent person. You guys know this?
You know.
Which is why I chose Anthony Volpe for the Yankees. He's actually but he's actually hit 0 for 5 last night. All I needed was 1.5
Bro.
hits, runs, or RBIs. You prick. He's hitting 324. His OBP is 410.
Toronto, dog. They're not going to have a good night.
What an a-hole. Get on Prize Picks. It is the RBC tees off today.
Yeah.
It is loaded.
And Scotty go back to back.
Oh!
Can Justin Thomas even make the cut? Casual.
Stop. Don't be Anyway, my point is, golf is amazing on Prize Picks. Baseball's amazing on Prize Picks. We got a ton of afternoon baseball today. Not a game you care about. Good afternoon baseball today. And then, of course, the NBA, the playing games have been phenomenal. I have won money on the playing games.
Mm-hmm.
I am back to $500 in the Prize Picks account.
Wow.
I am back. I only won $25 last night.
Yeah. Thank
you, Master Boney. I am back to $497 in my Prize Picks account.
Okay.
490. You know. So it is gonna be very interesting. I think here's the one that I'm gonna give you. I play hits, runs, and RBIs in Major League Baseball. That is my favorite category to play. Evan Carter is 1.5. It's an 11:10 a.m. first pitch. Evan Carter for the Rangers. 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Lock. Knock it down. I'm telling you.
Okay, now what are the buffoons in the chat saying? Is today going to be a good day or a bad day in the chat?
Well, let's find out.
You know.
Oh, look at that. It is going to be a good day because Pete Forte gifted 10 Monty Show memberships.
Giving Thursday, I like it.
I'm not used to you being on time with the chime.
Wow.
You know.
Usually I'm on page like 69 over here, so I got to, dial it back in.
Pete, appreciate you. You guys, our members only Instagram chat is always lit. I've been getting roasted in the Instagram chat for our members only group lately, but I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
What do we at for subs right now? The countdown to 100,000 is happening. Have we
I have
crossed
not
98,000 yet?
No, we're 95,000 something, I think.
No, we're 97, I thought.
Are we? I don't check it very often. We are at 97,946.
So the countdown begins. That's going to happen next week, folks.
97,009. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
You guys.
Yeah.
On this here little channel.
So maybe subscribe,
Wow.
Get us to 100.
I did not realize we were that close. And that's with us taking pretty much every Friday off because certain among us are lazy.
Who are you talking about? Me?
Why did we take last Friday off?
I don't know. I was traveling. I was
traveling.
I had to take the long trek down to Phoenix.
You were making babies in the desert.
And
who are you, Zion Williamson? Anyway, 100,000 subs. We are. That's unbelievable.